Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. And as always, we're back with another video, back with another topic of discussion for all my athletes and for whoever's interested in understanding how the mind of an athlete works. Today's topic is about leveling up and taking it to the next level. Taking it to the next level isn't always what we think. Why is that important? What we think is not always what's waiting for us on the other side. There's some people that are making their way to that next level, and there's some people that cannot break into that next level for various reasons. We're gonna get straight into it. What are the main issues encountered when it comes to this? The first thing is having the wrong expectations of what's coming next. Having the wrong expectations of what you're working towards. A lot of people work very, very hard. They put a lot of time, they put a lot of effort into their sport, into their craft, but they just can't seem to get a hang of it. They just can't make it to the next level. And sometimes you see people that are at that next level that might not be working as hard as you. They're not necessarily better, but they're there. They're there and they're doing better. That's the difference. You can see that you are at that level. They are not better, but they're doing better. And it's a big, big issue, but we'll get into that shortly. The second issue is not understanding how important the mental side of the game is. There's only so much you can do from a physical standpoint. You can do the drills, you can put in all the hours and everything, but the mental side of the game is what allows you to bring that together. When you step on that pitch, you need to make sure that your mind is right in order for everything to come together. And obviously, that's a massive, massive problem for a lot of us. We don't necessarily understand just how important the mental side of the game is. When we're younger, we were told that talent can only do so much for us, and as we reach that next step, it becomes a mental game. You don't necessarily understand that until you get closer to that level. And now you see how important it is. But since you've not put as much time into that, you either don't know what you're doing, or you don't really, like I said, know how important that side of the game is. Now, how do we deal with this? The first way to deal with this is to not rely on what you know. And this joins the first issue that I mentioned. What you know is based off of what you think is waiting for you on the next side, and also based on your experience where you're currently at. Sometimes it's just little differences, but these little differences go a long way. Maybe people think that to reach that next level, you need to run more. You need to add a bit more fitness, or if you don't necessarily have time to do more fitness, maybe you need to up the intensity. Same thing with your training drills. Maybe up the intensity, try and perfect what you do, even though you're always going to make mistakes, no matter what level you're at. And this is exactly where people get it wrong. They get it wrong because they don't really know that doing things based on what you know is not all there is to it, right? And that's why, again, the trainings are intense, the running is pretty good, your football training is pretty good, maybe your track training is very good. You're pushing yourself as much as you can, but you're still not making it to that next level. Instead of taking a step back and seeing how, or maybe asking the right people how things actually go on the other side, you just keep on doing the same thing, hoping for the same results. And it just doesn't work that way. I think that's actually something people deal with even in their day-to-day lives. A lot of us expect different results by doing the same things. But as for athletes, this will cost you not more, but it will cost you quicker because our time on the field is limited. Careers are very short, and even for the ones that have good careers, they still end one day. In your day-to-day life, you do have more time to learn. But the reason why I'm putting emphasis on this for athletes is that time is ticking. And you cannot forever be in that loop of I'm making the same mistake, expecting different results. Something has to change. Something has to give. You're growing older. Maybe you're becoming more and more frustrated with your situation. Something has to change. And it starts with that. Not relying on what you know and actually having a better understanding of how the next level is. And most of the time, it's not about doing more. It's simply about mastering the basics, perfecting the basics. That's why you see a lot of professionals doing very simple things when they train. Now, you're not there with them to see the little tweaks. I think it's very different to look at it maybe on YouTube or on TV, but it's really the little things that matter. So instead of trying to go for the big things, master the basics. If your foundation is not solid, the rest won't do much for you. And with football, it's not so much a thing of build the basics and take it from there. You should constantly be working on the basics. You should almost obsess over mastering and working on the basics. So that's, I think, where a lot of us need to start. And then the second way to deal with this is not only to master the physical basics, but is to start by mastering the mental basics. Because obviously, most of what we do on the pitch starts with here. Every action starts with a thought. The way you carry yourself starts with how you think about yourself. The way you let people treat you, the way you dominate a game, or maybe the way you let your opposition dominate you starts here. So by just thinking that mastering the physical basics is enough, you're completely missing out on the most important part of the game, rather, which is the mental side. That is probably the most important thing, especially when you reach senior level, semi-pro, professional level. This is where it starts. So to sum it up, master the basics, but also master the right basics. If your head is not right, if you don't level the playing field in your head, you will not be able to level the playing field on the field. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something from this. See you guys next time.